Well, it turns out there's even more things wrong with the Pixel 4 that I couldn't fit in yesterday's 14-minute long video, but there is an underlining message that I'm trying to make in this one. So it's not just more ranting, however, yeah, there's more ranting. But I do think it's justified, and you guys enjoy it, and I like talking about it, so yeah, here's why in today's video we're talking about two very boring smartphones. But even though both of them are incredibly boring updates, one of them got an incredibly positive response, and one of them is getting an incredibly negative response. Let's begin. So a couple more catch-up things on the Pixel 4 in case after everything I said about it yesterday was not really that big of a deal and you're still gonna buy it regardless. Early reviewers have now been using the Pixel 4 and have given us some more real-world feedback on it, so we have a little bit more things to go off of now. And Margil Rodriguez himself mentioned in his review that they have now restricted portrait mode to the telephoto lens on the back, which is absolutely mind-boggling to me because this is exactly how iPhone were for years, and Apple's explanation for it was in order to have an accurate portrait mode shot, they wanted to make sure that the telephoto lens takes the photo, but the wide angle is collecting data for better depth mapping. And that's how it had been all the way up till the iPhone XS, but if you guys remember last year with the XR, Apple started getting into the more computational side of things, which is what Pixel had been doing for several years, adding portrait mode to a single lens setup. And a lot of people actually preferred this. And it was my wish ever since the iPhone XS launched that Apple would give us the option to either take a portrait mode shot with the telephoto lens, because there are several instances where I like taking portrait mode shots with that more cropped in angle, but I would also like the option to take portrait mode shots with the regular wide angle lens. For whatever reason, they never brought that XR software to the XS wide angle, but needless to say, we all know how the story goes when iPhone 11 Pro came around. Now they let you, so I can take portrait mode shots with multiple lenses, and it's using data from the ultra wide lens to make a depth map. So it's not just limited to faces or people or just limited to pets. It works on all types of things. Yay, we all go home. The iPhone has the better camera. But for whatever reason, Google decided to restrict portrait mode to only the telephoto lens this time. And in the camera app, there's not even a 2x button. So when you're taking a photo, if you want to activate the telephoto lens, you kind of have to just pinch the right amount. There's not just an easy switch to this lens option like we've had in iOS for years. And I found this an incredibly huge step backwards, especially given a lot of Pixel users said they like taking portrait mode shots with that regular wide angle lens. Now you can no longer do that. You have to do it with the telephoto, which is a big step backward. The other thing I completely missed is that switching from a Pixel 3 to a Pixel 4 means you're losing front-firing speakers. A very proud feature Google used to brag about ever since the Pixel 2. Their phones had stereo speakers and they were both on the front. That used to be people's excuse for a forehead and chin. Yeah, it's not a bezel-less display, but it does have dual front-firing speakers. They've now removed that and put a speaker on the bottom, just like it is on an iPhone, for the advantage of what now? I mean, there's still a chin at the bottom, so they didn't get rid of that, but I guess it's a smaller chin, but yeah, you don't have the front-firing speakers anymore. So in regards to directional audio, it's also a downgrade from last year. And also a much more important problem with the Pixel 4 is Face Unlock is very much not secure. When Google originally tweeted out their Face ID clone, I was like, okay, that's probably going to work exactly the same way Face ID does, right? Well, it turns out it's far less secure. By default, without changing any settings, the Face Unlock on the Pixel 4 does not require any kind of attention awareness. This was a huge helpful feature with Face ID because a lot of people had the concern of, well, look, if you move to Face Unlock, someone can grab your phone, hold it up to you, and then unlock it and run off. But something that kind of helped with that, and also was a good privacy feature, was that in order for even messages on the lock screen to be shown, you had to look at the Face ID sensors, and if you're asleep, your eyes are closed, Face ID will not unlock on your iPhone. This was a very good thing to add to Face ID biometrics because it made people feel like there was an extra layer of protection more than just 3D mapping your face. Like if someone wanted to grab your phone, hold it up to your face while you were either passed out, drunk, asleep, and your phone's next to you, or dead, any number of things, that the phone couldn't just unlock that simply, where that doesn't appear to be the case on the Pixel 4, and at this point, there's no option in software for it to only unlock when your eyes are looking at the phone. And I'm genuinely bringing up this topic not because I just want to bash the Pixel 4, but also also because I think this is a huge security flaw and Google needs to add it as soon as possible. It should be totally doable via a software update, and once they do add it, I will applaud them for doing so, but that doesn't change my overall thinking of the phone. Now, if we move to the side and stop talking about the Face ID sensors for a second, another big point, which I very much think is a problem with the Pixel 4, is because they decided to go with a certain high gigahertz refresh rate on this motion chip, the Soli, that allows for you to skip songs, that completely bans the Pixel 4 for being available to over 1 billion people worldwide. India being the biggest one, but there's also several other countries where Google is just flat out not launching the Pixel 4 because they wanted to adopt this radar chip, which in many countries is restricted for military use. It is not available for consumer use. And the whole reason I think this is a classic example of Google missing the picture is that they wanted to add a feature that they were so passionate about, they were willing to exclude over 1 billion people from their demographic, over 1/7 of the planet, because they want air gestures. They want to be able to skip songs, which a lot of people were hyping up like this Soli chip was going to be far more accurate and work really, really well, but we've seen demos of it now, and it isn't proving to be very reliable. Marques Brownlee himself, who is a very, very big Google fan, said he only got the air gestures to work about 10% of the time. He openly admitted they were gimmicky, and that the LG phone that also had hand gestures earlier, that did a better job because it at least showed you what you're supposed to do with your hands, and the Pixel 4 doesn't really. It just gives you this weird fog light at the top of the phone, and most people say it doesn't work very reliably, it's not that accurate, it's not that helpful, and this is the classic definition of a gimmick. There's people out there that defend it and just say, hey, it's cool, if you don't like it, you don't have to use it, which I would agree with if the technology was cheap and the technology didn't exclude over 1/7 of the world's population. If you want to add a weird gimmicky feature to help sell your phone, that's great, but don't exclude entire markets of people over it. India being one of the fastest growing countries in the world, you should be trying to adapt to those people and try to figure out what hardware is good for that demographic. That's why Apple is moving iPhone XR production over to India so that they can avoid those import tariffs they've been facing. And reports are that they're going to be very quickly moving the iPhone 11 production to India as well, allowing that lower price point to be available to that demographic. This is what large companies like Apple, Google, Samsung should be doing. A couple more things worth mentioning is that Google Daydream, which used to be this big thing the Pixel was hyped over. You could wear these VR headsets with your phone. They've killed that off entirely. The Pixel 4 does not support that. And also the astrophotography features that allow you to take those really long exposure shots. That's not exclusive to the Pixel 4. It's purely a software feature, and they're adding it to the $400 Pixel 3a and last year's Pixel 3. So if you thought that was an advantage the Pixel 4 had over the competition, it's not. It's a software thing. They could probably add it to any Android phone. So okay, after recapping all of that, the big issue I see with the Pixel 4 is that in many ways it's arguably a worse phone than last year's Pixel 3 while not lowering the price point or incentivizing us with much else. Switching from a Pixel 3 to a Pixel 4, you're shrinking the battery, you're removing the front-facing dual selfie camera, you're removing the front-firing speakers, you're removing the unlimited photo storage, and to a certain extent you're exchanging a simple biometric for a less secure one. I doubt many banking apps are going to be okay with Google's Face Unlock, given you don't even need to look at the phone for it to unlock. A lot of third parties will probably have a hard time adopting that until Google fixes it. And if you look at the iPhone 11 with its positive response and its strong sales numbers, what did Apple do to incentivize people to upgrade? Well, if we look at the iPhone XR and compare it to the 11, there were no downgrades. They didn't change a bunch of things to make the deal worse. In fact, lowering the price point, because it's a traditional design scheme, by lowering the iPhone 11 to $700, they increased the battery life by an hour. They added another lens. And yes, it's an ultra-wide lens, which, by the way, Google, even if you're going to admit that ultra-wides are fun and telephoto is more important, there's a huge demographic out there that I think would agree having fun with the camera is important. It matters that people enjoy and have a positive response to their camera experience, and that's what the iPhone 11 got right with prioritizing an ultra-wide lens and leaving telephoto for the pros. They increased the CPU speed to the fastest CPU on the planet. They also gave it an extra gig of RAM, and they didn't remove headphones from the purchase. They didn't change the storage options. In fact, to upgrade the storage to 128 gigs on the iPhone 11, you only have to pay an extra $50, whereas on the Pixel 4 line, to double from 64 to 128, you have to spend an extra $100. And we know the parts on the inside of these phones don't cost an extra $100, but the fact that you can get a 128 48 gig iPhone 11 for cheaper than the baseline Pixel 4 is evident as to what people prioritize in a phone these days. And that's why, in conclusion of this video, I'm going to suggest something to Google, which I've suggested in the past, and a lot of people may not agree with this, but I personally think Google needs to cancel the Pixel phones. Of course, some of you may disagree and say, no, don't tell them to cancel it, just tell them to do better and maybe they'll get it right next year. But I just have to ask you, how many missteps, how many awkward launches, and how many missing the point and missing demographic mistakes does Google have to make before we say, you're not getting this, and you may need to rebrand, you may need to, I don't know, fire the old team, start over, or just look at what you've accomplished and how sales have consistently gone down and realize that, you know, this isn't worth it to people. People aren't lining up to buy this thing, and the most depressing thing about the Pixel 4 is this is the phone Google's going to have as their flagship into 2020. The next 3 quarters of next year, this is going to be the runner-up, this dated, overpriced, downgraded version of a phone that not even sold very well, which is making me think the Pixel 4 is probably going to sell even worse than the Pixel 3 did. And because I want Google to get this message, I want them to see how low the numbers are going to be and how much they're missing the point with making smartphones consumers enjoy. I'm not buying it. You know, in previous years, I've bought Pixel phones to review. Not this time, and it's mostly because I think that even if I bought it and reviewed it, I would not provide much insight on the experience. There's not much else I can add to the issues with the Pixel 4 other than I'm sure some type of software bugs or hardware launch issues, which every Pixel has had, so I'm sure this Pixel 4 is going to have some launch issues too. But since I don't think I can add much to the discussion, and I don't want Google to even see a pre-order from me, I'm not going to be buying the Pixel 4. If someone sends me one, I may do a video on it, but I probably won't give it that full product review treatment or that unboxing experience that I give to other phones I review, and I honestly think trying to review the Pixel 4 would just be a waste of time. Anyways, we've talked about it a lot the past couple days, so I'm hoping to move on from it in the next few videos, and we can get to talking about some real smartphone cameras. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you in the next one.